Hey everyone, welcome to my deep dive on Atlas Energy Solutions, ticker AESI. Today I'm answering the big question. Can this Permian Basin Energy Services stock really hit $1,000? I'll break down Atlas's strengths, weaknesses, financials, dividends, future growth, and even stack it up against the competition and global indices. Grab your coffee, let's get right into it. First up, what exactly is Atlas Energy Solutions? Based in Austin, Texas, Atlas is the top dog in frac sand and logistics for the Permian Basin, the beating heart of U.S. oil and gas. With 14 facilities and a massive 29 million tons of sand produced every year, Atlas is the region's largest supplier. And they're not just about sand anymore. After snapping up Moser Energy Systems, Atlas is now dipping into distributed power, which means they're diversifying where the money comes from. That's a smart move. So what's working for Atlas, and what's not? Let's start with the positives. Atlas totally dominates in the Permian. They've built some pretty cool infrastructure like the Dune Express conveyor and a fleet of autonomous trucks. That combo slashes costs by about 70%. Dividend lovers, listen up. Atlas is throwing off a 7.7% yield. That's miles ahead of the energy sector's 6.2% and absolutely crushes the S&P 500's 1.2%. Since their IPO in March 2023, they've handed back $314 million to shareholders, with $229 million of that just since going public. But there are some cracks. Profitability is a real concern. In Q2 2025, Atlas pulled in $289 million in revenue, but ended up with a $5.6 million net loss. Ouch! Plus, they're heavily tied to the Permian Basin, so if that region slows down, Atlas gets hit hard. Their capital expenditures are sky high. $228.5 million just in Q1 2025, so cash flow is definitely feeling the pinch. Let's talk financials and competition. Atlas's profit margins are under real pressure. In Q1 2025, their net profit margin was a razor-thin 0.3%. For comparison, Cactus Inc. is rocking a 20% margin, and ProPetro is around 10%. Adjusted EBITDA margin, though, is a decent 24.9%, but that's down from 3% the previous quarter. Debt-wise, they've got a $180 million term loan and a $100 million delayed draw facility. Cash flow is strong enough to cover that debt, but those huge investments limit financial flexibility. The good news? Revenues from distributed power and logistics are growing, which helps balance out the reliance on frac sand. Now, for my dividend fans, Atlas's 7.7% yield is a big reason to watch this stock. In 2025, it paid out 25 cents per share every quarter, up 25% from the 20 cents per share in 2023. It's not quite a dividend aristocrat yet, but the payout looks sustainable thanks to solid adjusted free cash flow. But here's the thing. Since the IPO at $18, the stock's dropped 30% to $12.51 as of August 2025. Dividends help cushion the blow, but total returns lag the S&P 500's 11.7% annual gain. Still, that yield beats the FTSE 100's 3.5% and MSCI World's 2%. Looking ahead to 2030 and beyond, I see some big opportunities. The Dune Express and those autonomous trucks should keep boosting margins. The move into distributed power via Moser is a solid way for Atlas to branch out. And down the line, say by 2040 or 2050, Atlas could pivot even further into hybrid energy solutions. But let's be real, there are risks. Renewables are taking off, environmental rules are tightening, and geopolitical issues could shake fossil fuel demand. U.S. energy independence might help, but global decarbonization is a serious headwind. So, can Atlas Energy Solutions hit $1,000? Honestly, it's a long shot. At $1,000 a share, we're talking about a $120 billion market cap. That's 80 times where it sits today. In the near future, I'd expect annual returns in the 5 to 10% range, mostly from dividends. Long term, if oil demand holds and Atlas keeps diversifying, maybe 8 to 12%. For now, Atlas is a high-yield play for income-focused investors, but $1,000? That's a stretch. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that bell for more stock analysis. Drop your thoughts on AESI in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Thanks for watching.